Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's AMA. We have some interesting things to talk to you about what's been another busy week at the project. We are going to shortly go to Herman, who'll give us an overview of what's been going on in the engine room of the Cherry project in terms of development and all the hard work that the devs have been doing. And then we're going to go on to a brief discussion of what's going on in the business space for the project. And then thereafter, we'll have a more in-depth chat with Marvin, project lead of Cherish, and he'll give us a rundown of some of the progress and obstacles overcome by the Cherish project in the past couple of months in preparation for their imminent launch. And then finally, we'll have a chat with Diego about goings on with Seedling. And finally, of course, the weekly quiz. So I think Herman's here available now, and I'll just hand you over to him if he's ready, and he can give us a rundown on what's going on with the core team.
I was just writing announcements. It'll come out as soon as I'm done with this. Any tokens sent to the validators, and I know this really affects maybe a few users, fewer than 20, I believe. But regardless, it's good to know that people were having issues identifying the proper way or to nominate and stake their tokens on mainnet. I think we've made some improvements to that effect. The UI now shows clear notices about how to nominate. And if you try and send tokens to nominate to validators, it'll clearly display a message saying that if you're transferring tokens, that is not equivalent to nomination. So if, as this announcement that will soon blast out will say, if you send token mistakenly and receive them back today, good for you. If not, feel free to contact us. We'll try to get you sorted soon enough. As far as core, more updates that pertain everyone and not just a few people that mistakenly sent tokens to the validators. The past week has been pretty intense work as we prepare the mainnet relay chain to become a proper relay chain. So start hosting parachains and broadening its infrastructure. I will. I think we'll try and do that by the end of the week. We'll announce the names of the 4 new validators that we hoped could join a few weeks ago, but weren't able to due to a delay on our end. And they should be able to now. So they'll start validating test nets as soon as possible, as soon as they spin up their token, their nodes, and mainnet as soon as we expand the validator set, which can be sometime next week. So aside from that, we are making some adjustments to how our infrastructure works, how it's orchestrated, how we monitor it. That's taken quite a bit of time. All this to say that EVM is nearly done, and the last few things that miss really aren't so much coding and perfecting the EVM parachain code itself, rather various integration things such as address compatibility, which I spoke about last week, and now getting the network infrastructure prepared. I don't know if I have anything else. Let me quickly check my notes. Maybe I'll share something about the ecosystem. The ecosystem is at an interesting point. The market is whatever the market is doing. We're pretty neutral to it. We try to respond to what we observe, not rather proactively engage or assert our belief of what the market will do. So in that way, we're much more conservative than, let's say, other projects that have taken the more recent upward movement of Bitcoin in particular as a signal for increasing spend. We are doing that gradually. If you see track.share.network, you'll be able to see one new interesting project that we can showcase, or that we will showcase in a few days probably, and that's a decentralized application built on Cherry mostly, that allows anyone to spin up a private, secure, virtual private network based loosely on Cherry Node, but also expandable into their either private networking or some monetized version of a new network based on Cherry and based on Cherry's P2P networking, but separate and so that while its monetization and its monitoring, etc., will still be based on Cherry and nodes of the virtual private network, can be quite light and don't need to store, let's say, the entire Cherry blockchain like our validators or any other Cherry node must. So that's pretty cool application. It also signifies our entry into a space that myself and Bora, our co-founder, have a fair bit of experience in, and somewhere where, if anything, at least crypto has established itself as a vehicle for development and growth. While the other things, say DeFi and other stuff, are newer and less proven, let's put it that way. Privacy, I think, has demonstrated, or crypto has demonstrated use in the sphere of privacy, mediating operations of various sorts, either on-chain, say transactional, or programmatic. We can also put it that way in the case of, let's say, static encrypted documents and so forth that you want to have authoritative access to, or hybrid, that's another term, such as the case of at least one very cool projects we've also been in talk with, and that is that carries out the functions of a decentralized exchange, but privately, so not disclosing the various parties involved, which is I think useful, particularly in regards to solving the now permanent issue of front-running bots and stuff like that, affecting public decentralized exchanges. So, in short, we're looking into privacy. We're looking into making Cherry more suitable to projects of the sort, and we'll be showcasing at least one of these ventures that we are now seeking, where we apply Cherry as a vehicle for privacy and an infrastructure, a base on which privacy projects, be it various sorts, either a simple currency or something more complex, like this VPN, can grow and flourish. I think that's it. We are also working on a few partnerships, like loose ecosystem, not precisely projects that are building and looking to deploy wholly on Cherry, but also established projects that are seeking to bridge their existing project over, or frankly, larger, let's say layer ones, other projects that wouldn't necessarily deploy anything on Cherry, but rather would partner strategically with us or cooperate in one way or another in pursuit of our common goals, which again, I now laid out how privacy is important to us, but certainly there are other either more broad goals, such as bringing the decentralized movement to fruition, or more specific goals, such as getting smart contracts access to a trustless distributed storage. And so we'll be working with those, and we'll announce those as they mature and solidify. That's it from me. Again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to share this announcement about the validators, about the people who mistakenly sent tokens to the validators, and our upcoming validation expansion set. And I'll do that probably within the hour.
Thank you very much, Herman. I had one question for you from the community from a couple of days ago, but you actually basically answered it. And that question was, where do the strategic, what does it say? Hang on. Where are the strategic priorities of where Cherry sees itself benefiting? And I think that, as you summed it up well there, most simply, it is the making sure that smart contracts can draw on decentralized storage, data, but also privacy, and also bringing Web3 forward more generally is pretty much where Cherry finds itself placed at the forefront of.
Exactly. So, yeah, just to share a few thoughts about this, I see Cherry now in a sort of more mature form than, let's say, a year ago or 2 years ago, or even 3 years ago. I think we started 2 years and a half ago, so it's been a while. We've always had this overarching goal of bringing, of making, of somewhat advancing the decentralized movement. It can be as naive and as broad as that. The co-founders, everyone involved, is mostly attracted to Cherry because of its decentralized aspirations, the ideals of open networks, of DAO, to name a few. However, while these ideals catalyze and are shared across the team, the project itself in its day-to-day form, as what we develop, what we invest time and money in, takes this broad aspirations and makes it, or at least tries to make it focused and something specific, something that we can operationally execute. Again, in our as we try to be focused and conservative rather than overly idealistic. And so while decentralization, having open networks, censorship resistance and all of that are the pillars upon which the idea started, and the community that's now quite active participates, and the team engages in. So broadly, on a day-to-day level, we are, or at least we try to be, dead focused on delivering the far more tangible goals that we set out ourselves, which I can repeat ad nauseum now, is to bring trustless storage to smart contracts. Now, there's many aspects to this mission. It can bring us to invest in and cultivate projects as diverse as the VPN, as Cherish, as Seedling. But ultimately, the purpose really is to, whatever the data may be, whatever the runtime, the smart contract execution layer may be, and we do try to integrate with as many as possible. We're now publishing our EVM compatibility layer. We will soon be expanding our interoperability to Solana and other layer ones and infrastructure of the sort. Still, while we can explore around this core mission, the core mission still stays the same. I think that answers it.
Yeah, thank you, Herman. And it's quite an interesting point that I'm sure some of our community could agree with, and certainly in my own experience in life, from business to tech to just more broadly my personal experiences, you often find that paradoxically, the more idealistic or the more pioneering or the more kind of future thinking an enterprise or an initiative or a person is, the more pragmatic they have to be. I think an analogy would probably be someone who is, if you're going to explore the Antarctica or the Antarctic for the first time, you really can't be too wishy-washy about the details of survival. And I think that that's the case for the more pioneering Web3 projects. When you speak to the founders and the core teams of these projects, they really emphasize being as practical and as pragmatic and realistic as possible, because it is a much more difficult business terrain to navigate than, setting up a new Web2 shopping app or something like that. So that kind of pressure kind of hardens our approach to things. And I think that this is reflected in how we've navigated the crypto downturn in terms of making sure that the fundamentals and the vitals of the project are well protected, and that we're constantly looking for projects to work with that provide real value, as opposed to just kind of smoke and mirrors, because that smoke and mirrors never really lasts when things when things get tough. So that's certainly the overarching goal of the project, is to further Web3 and decentralization and freedom. But as Herman said, it is manifested in very specific and very business savvy operations on a day-to-day basis. So thank you, Herman. That's quite interesting. I think I'm going to give a very brief update in terms of the goings on the business side in the past few days. Bear with me now. I'm just going to pull up these notes, which I should have had up already. Hang on one second. Sorry. In terms of our partnerships, we're hoping they've been progressing steadily. We have a new kind of range of projects that we've been contacting in the past few days. Herman gave you an overview as to what kind of approach we're taking. So we're hoping to be able to share details and announcements of those pretty soon. It's quite a promising and interesting dimension for the company to explore. So we'll share more details on that as soon as we can. Tomorrow, I think or there will be we've stepped up our outreach and contact with our large investors and given them we're going to give them a bi-weekly update as to how things are going on a more formalized basis. And it was Herman's idea that we might as well just share these kind of notes in truncated and sometimes less specific terms to the community. So we'll publish that tomorrow at blog.cherry.network. In a moment, we're going to discuss with Marvin the kind of dynamics at play in the Cherish project at the moment. I think he's going to relay some information and some insights from the developers on the Cherish project as well. Should be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And as I mentioned last week, we're going to, and as Herman just mentioned a moment ago, we're going to have more details of what the next big milestones in the Cherry Core Dev initiative, what's going on there, and what kind of timeframes people can expect. I think Boer was mentioned in the chat a little bit about this over the yesterday evening, I think, but we're going to formalize and kind of pin some of that down so that you guys can expect when to see things picking up in that regard. So that'll be quite interesting as well. Can't give you any time frame as to when we'll clarify those details, but it should be in the next couple of weeks, certainly. So with that in mind, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go first to Cherish, and Marvin is there. I'm going to give him the microphone, so to speak, and he's going to take us through what's been going on with Cherish, especially how things are being overcome as they crop up for the developers and for the business developers there as well. Are you there at the moment, Marvin?
Yes, you can hand over the mic now. Thank you very much, Owen, for that introduction. So today I want to talk about Cherish and the developments, the challenges we faced, and the roadblocks that we have to overcome one by one to ensure that this is a long-lasting platform and it's future-proof. It's a very key word, future-proof, in the development of Cherish, how we tackle a lot of our issues and how we approach a lot of the challenges in front of us. That leads me to my first point, really. When developing something groundbreaking like Cherish, you don't really have an easy task in front of you, not at all. The developers face numerous challenges while working on the platform, and every challenge that they overcome it's like an opportunity, and it really drives growth and innovation. So we are very diligent in how we approach all of these issues, making sure not to use too much plug and play code. We're really taking one step at a time and making sure that everything is our own, and we are diligent in achieving this. Which of course requires a lot of attention to detail, a lot of discourse about how everything is done and implemented, which might in the short run slow things down a little bit, but in the long run make sure that Cherish is a long-lasting platform. Then since Cherish is, we built Cherish from the start with just a few media types in place. If anybody's ever used the old Cherish platform, that there was text and there was images. Right now, we've set off from a goal from. We've changed our goals from earlier last year, from just upgrading the older platform to starting anew and taking what we've learned already and using this in the new version of Cherish that we're building right now. And there's limited launches coming up. And that lesson is that when you're creating something like this, a platform that has to be dynamic, you really have to start from scratch with all of the media types. So all of these media types need to be enhanced. And I'm talking about text, video, images, later maybe also audio clips. And we have to really be diligent about how we order and tag all of these media types and how we can enhance these and how they can best be portrayed on the Cherish platform. So this is not an easy job. It sounds pretty easy. You go onto other platforms like Instagram, you click around a bit, all of a sudden your picture's posted. But sadly enough, it's not as easy as you might think. So to enhance all these media types, it takes a lot of work and dynamic implementation of functions. So that's something we are also tackling. So lastly, I'll mention security. As Herman said, privacy and security is something that the Cherry chain itself is very cares a lot about and gives a lot of possibilities to. So we follow suit and make sure that Cherish is as secure as possible. And how do we do this? Is by layering all these authorizations of users. And when it comes to a platform like Cherish, it's important to give everybody every single subsection of the possibilities what you can do with the platform, as in tipping, subscribing, blocking, following. Every single one of these actions has a different authorization layer. So you have to make sure that every piece of content matches a certain the authorization layer, and so that people can't break in or break the platform and see things that they're not supposed to see, or get around a lot of these workarounds. Some paywalls on news websites. You can just inspect elements and get around all these authorization or lazy authorizations barriers. But no, with Cherish, we really take this seriously, and in the spirit of Cherry, really want to tackle this in a proper way. So this is something we take very seriously, and we take our time with to make sure that no content will be seen by people who don't have the authority or the security level for that. So these are some of the things that we tackle. Of course, there's a lot more. Also, the fact that we're doing something completely new and kind of groundbreaking here does not make it easier or faster. It really is the bleeding edge of combining social media with decentralized storage. So we are making sure that we don't make any mistakes here, because nobody will tell us that we could have done it this way or that way, because we are one of the first to actually attempt it. So in summary, there's a lot of challenges with building Cherish. I know some of you might be a little impatient with this, but we want to ensure you that what we're trying to tackle here is not a small feat, and that we are positively growing towards a bigger and better and more beautiful platform, which we are excited to let you guys see. Then I will go over just another point or two. Yes, I have them in front of me here. We're working on partnerships in the back end as well, to make sure that we're connected with the right people and the right organizations to kickstart Cherish, if that be marketing or people coming over from other platforms and growing our audience that way. We're making sure we've got the right connections and we can engage these people at the right time to form an alliance and grow Cherish and maybe other projects that are affiliated with us in the right way and boost this to where we want it to see Cherish now, in the future, or in many years. Then finally, onboarding continues as we have been doing over a long time. We've been really gathering a really nice community of artists who are very excited for Cherish. So that still continues at pace. That's about it for Cherish for now, and I think I'll leave you to Diego or Owen.
Thank you, Marv. That was quite interesting. Again, it's worth reiterating that Cherry and the core team, and especially the founders, have a very strong background and track record with privacy and security. Herman touched on this a few moments ago in his update. And Cherish is, given the fact that social media and creative production is quite sensitive in terms of authorizations and access, and adding that complication to Web3 context means that this is something, this social network, this content platform, however you want to call it, will really need a very strong basis in security and in authorization. And I know that that's something that the devs at Cherish have been working very hard on, and Cherry is the right platform to do so. And that's quite promising in terms of what can be done. I think that when Cherish launches, it will be a step forward in what Web3 can actually provide. We see a lot of areas like DeFi, NFTs that have taken off in the past couple of years, and that's all well and good, but it's very much something that is really mostly interesting to people who are already initiated, already in the crypto space, already involved in the crypto space, whereas to cross the chasm, so to speak, to a wider audience, a very sophisticated and reliable and secure platform is needed, and it needs to address consumer needs, user needs in the broader tech landscape. Specifically, content and social media would be probably the most, I would say, yeah, certainly the most important of any Web 2, of any of the Web 2 sub-industries. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Cherish launch. They have all the right pieces in place, and it is a very, very interesting area for Web3, and it really is at the frontier of what can be done with Web3. So I'm hoping that we really blow people out of the water and amaze our community and the wider crypto and hopefully the wider tech community in terms of what can be done and what kind of extra ownership we can give to creators. It's very promising, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's enough from me. I'm going to hand you over to Diego, and Diego's going to give us a quick rundown on what's going on with Seedling at the moment.
Yeah, hello guys. Good to be back here on another news update / AMA with you guys. We have been very busy, especially in the last 48 hours. I have been having actually some unstable connection issues today, so hopefully everyone can hear me well. But yeah, we have been working on a lot of different subjects regarding our platform, so I will cover the main things. So to start off, without any order of importance or priority, I will start with the first bullet point, as you can see on the screen, and the news I'm actually most proud of, which is the new partnership with Assure DeFi, and actually following Herman's comments and the importance given to security, and also even Marvin jumping in with his comments about security for Cherish. I also wanted to make justice on this sense and talk about the importance of this subject for Seedling as well, and the reason behind this partnership. So Assure DeFi is within the top leading companies in the space. You can even see they have very close relationship with other similar top leading companies in the security space, such as Certic, who has very high acceptance and recognition. and they're not doing the same service, but they do excel in this subject of security. So, you guys, what is very important about this partnership is the real synergy of the two businesses, because it makes a lot of sense. The pre-sale market comes with a lot of rewards, but also a lot of risks, and it is exposed to some extent to unethical practices by business leads. And offering this security layer where we can hold accountable and responsible all these business owners for their actions, and kind of externalize this service, and have a sure DeFi on our side, providing a process to legally pursue these kind of factions is great, and definitely a huge value for the platform. So we're also preparing some new content following this security topic, which is very important, especially on the pre-sale market, where we are exposed, as I said, to many risks. We will evaluate and analyze the risks, and provide a good framework as to how Seedling solves this through the Assure DeFi protocol, and other very interesting content on this matter. Again, and following last week's comments, I'd like to remember everyone about our very hard DD work, which I think has been great and very aligned with the timeline of Cherry's upcoming big update, which is the EVM, and with their push on the ecosystem. So yeah, remember, we are in talks with lots of chains, and looking forward at providing value to these chains. Not forgetting our main ecosystem, which is Cherry, but also diversifying and providing a good platform for other ecosystem dApps, which could eventually bring a lot of marketing and traction for Seedling. And finally, and actually, we just finished a call a couple of minutes ago with some advisors in the Cherry side, which Seedling is also making of great use due to their great expertise in the business side of Web3. And we're exploring different branches and options we can provide, and kind of diversifying from the regular token contribution investment in Web3 that Seedling currently provides, and brainstorming some very cool and interesting options we can explore. So yeah, in short, lots of work done in these last 7 days, a lot of announcements, and things will continue to happen. So thank you for all this support and continued interest in Seedling, especially in the last couple of days with the announcement of this new security layer, which will be implemented very soon into Seedling. Thank you, guys. And I'll leave you to Owen.
Thanks, Diego. Great to hear from Seedling and the progress that's being made there. I'm going to wrap things up here now. We're going to lead into the quiz. John will freeze the chat and post the questions. And I think there are a couple of people from last week that and before then that need to get prizes, but otherwise everybody is up to speed, I believe. Thank you all for joining. It's been an interesting AMA. We've heard some pretty useful insights and updates from Herman and the rest of the team and ecosystem partners. So as he said, as Herman mentioned, we'll have some other announcements throughout the week. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll have a lot of info forthcoming about partnerships, about ecosystem projects, and most importantly, about the core updates to the Cherry chain. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, let me know. Throw your question into the Cherry chat. And I'm sure that I'll be giving you guys more information over the next 7 days. But between now and the next AMA, have a good rest of your week, and we'll speak to you next week. Thanks very much, guys.